So, welcome to what feels like to me the single most important conversation I've ever had in my life. Um, this masterclass, Consciousness is Key, is about our consciousness, it is about our awareness. And it started off as me feeling like I wanted to talk about awareness. I wanted to talk about this journey of how we see life and how we allow life to unfold and how we grow and how we expand and how we learn and what that process actually looks like, and if we know about it, if we are conscious about it, how we can use it and help it move along and not be stuck in some of the levels or in some of these lower frequencies of consciousness. So this one is big to me, and I'm normally not that nervous prior to a masterclass. And since I have done them in English before now, there is nothing to be nervous about, except this feels big. And my intention for you is to leave you kind of speechless, which is a big intention. I have an intention of when you leave this conversation, you will be like, whoa, I'll be damned. There will be things that has landed for you deeper than you have ever felt them before. There will be a presence in your consciousness. There will be an awareness that you haven't felt before, and there will be a perspective on your life and on life itself that you haven't had before. So this one feels pretty big, and I have notes just because my son drew teeth on what he apparently thought was a drawing he could draw on. But it's because there are these 4 levels of awareness, this evolution of consciousness that I want to take you through, and I want to make sure I have everything on point. So if there's anything along the way that you want me to elaborate, if you have questions, if there's something you feel like this doesn't really make sense, can you give an example of something, please let me know. Just write in the comments. If there's something that really lands for you, like an epiphany, please let me know. I am a manifesting generator. I have a response strategy. So I actually do Zoom meetings because I want the interactions. I want to feel you here. And I also want to tell you, if you're watching this live on replay, as this is a masterclass on awareness and consciousness, if you can't be fully present, don't watch it now, because there will be things that won't land. I will take you also through the way our brain filters information and how it creates your reality and your view of the world based on where your focus is. So if you're focusing on everything else, and if you have like a million tabs open, like I sometimes do, and there's a message on Facebook, there is an email popping up, then you won't get the full picture. So for your sake, be present. Be present. I will try to do this, even though there is like a million things I want to share with you. I want to do this in respect of your time. So I want to keep it to an hour, and I'm aiming for that. So don't shoot me if I go a little bit over. I'm glad you are ready for this, Kira, and thank you. All right. I want to start with a story, because I really think anchoring things in with a story and having this really tangible thing to hold on to, and you can see what I mean, and then we can kind of take things out and expand on them, is the best way to learn. That's how I really feel like things land for me when it's in a context. So I want to take you back about 3 years. Yeah, about 3 years. I was home with my 2-year-old and 5-year-old, and this was by choice. When I had our 3rd baby, I knew I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I knew I didn't want to send him off to daycare, and I knew I wanted as much time with him as possible. I knew I wanted to be the one who saw every little thing. I wanted to hear his words. I wanted him to see me when he woke up from every nap. And my other son, I have 3 boys, but my other son, his immediate big brother, didn't want to go to kindergarten. So of course he shouldn't. So I had 2 kids home, and these kids require something, maybe even more than an average child. I was still breastfeeding my 2-year-old. I wasn't sleeping at all. And I haven't been sleeping for 10 years since the first child was born, their older brother. And my other son is have a very strong willpower. So he basically came to Earth challenging me every breathing second of the day. I wasn't making any money. I was trying to be an entrepreneur on the side and have my own business. I had no time, no sleep. There were piles of laundry everywhere. There were food that needed to be prepared every single second. There were kids that had conflicts. There were needs, constant needs, my own not included because they were so long neglected. But I was fed up. I was so tired. I was so overwhelmed. I felt like a failure, and I felt like this dream life I had envisioned of being home with my kids and having time and could do everything we wanted to do was so far away from what I was living. And the irony is, I was living in my imagined paradise. Just 2 years ahead of this, like 5 years ago, we manifested our dream house. And we live here now, and there is not a day that goes by without me being amazingly thankful for these surroundings. I have nature right outside. I have, like, I can't imagine any place more beautiful than this, but I couldn't see it. I couldn't take it in. I couldn't be happy. I just felt overwhelmed, and I felt like I was trapped in this loop. There was just misery, breathing more misery, breathing more misery. And I couldn't see it at the time because when you're caught in victimhood, you can't really relate to it and you don't see yourself as a victim. But I was so caught up in feeling like a victim. And one day I was nagging to myself, and I was probably not being the most loving, patient mom like I wanted to be with my 5-year-old, because he had the millionth idea that day that I could not meet. I couldn't do it, and I was too tired. I was too stressed out to even think about how I could do it. And there was just a voice inside me, my own voice, but a different voice than I heard most of the time, saying, "Are you done yet? Are you done? Do you have more? Do you need more words? Do you need more complaint? Do you need more? Or are you done? Are you done?" And at first I felt a bit offended because I was kind of telling myself off. And no, I wasn't done. I wasn't done. If anybody would just listen to me and how hard my life was, I wasn't done. But yet I was. There was a part of me that was done. And slowly and steadily, I started noticing what I was telling myself. I started noticing what I was paying attention to during the day. And I started noticing the stories that I latched onto and unfolded and expanded upon and allowed to take the full picture. I started noticing and I started questioning, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I saying this? Why am I feeling this? Why am I living the life I literally down to the T envisioned 4 years ago and feeling anything but happy? How is it possible that I'm living my dream and feeling miserable? So I really started contemplating a lot about what was going on inside me. And one thing I found out of, I've forgotten about me completely in all my desires, in all my dreams, in all my quest of creating a life that I wanted to live and thought would make me happy. I had forgot to listen to me. I've forgotten to listen to my needs. And I was just trapped in the same story, in the same manifestation of the same me, of the same awareness, of the same view of life, of the same everything. It was just a copy. I couldn't even tell the days apart. It was just misery upon misery. So if we flash forward a bit, I am still in the same place. I am still in the same circumstances, except I have two boys in school now, so I only have one child home. I don't really know if it's an advantage because he definitely wants to play all the time, and now I'm the only one he can play with. And I'm kind of tired of playing just between you and I, especially the same game over and over and over and over again. That is not that interesting, unless you're five. But I still have the same life, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't have any more time. I don't have anybody helping me. I don't have people cleaning my house. I don't have people cooking for me. I don't have people doing my laundry. I'm still basically the one that does most. My boyfriend is away every day at work, gets up in the morning before we get up, and he comes home about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm the one who gets up. I prepare breakfast. I find their clothes. I wash their clothes. Um, I make their lunch boxes for school. I plan our day. I go see the people that we meet, other people that has their kids at home. Um, I am so blessed and lucky that we live with my mom and her husband. That was a choice. That was part of this amazing place. We have like this mini um, I don't know, tribe thing we have going on here. So he actually drives the two boys to school every day. It's only 2 kilometers away. I can actually almost see the school, but they are really giving me a hard time if I suggest that we ride the bike. So he drops them off, and most days, no, that's actually a lie. Not most days because they want to play with the kids. So a lot of days I pack my bicycle with bicycles and whatever I can fit in there in the truck that I can take to school, so I can bring home some boys and their play dates and whatever, and have even more kids at home. And before that would be, I couldn't even imagine having more kids. I couldn't imagine having play dates. It was like, if you want to play, go somewhere else. I can't have any more. I can't have people. So nothing has changed in my physical life. Nothing has changed in my reality, but everything has changed inside me. And that is the journey I want to take you on today. That is the awareness journey. That is the power of knowing what you focus on, why, and how to change it. That is the power of moving up the levels of awareness. So before I take you through these 4 levels, I want to take you into your brain, because at the base of your brain, you have a filtering system called the reticular activating system. And reticular activating system, sorry, it's called RAS for short. I always call it RAS, reticular activating system. And your reticular activating system is a bunch of nerves that actually filters your reality. It filters every piece of information, inspiration, whatever comes every second. It filters it, and it makes it into like this small cube where you can actually process it, because your brain can't handle all that information. You are bombarded with information every single second. You are bombarded with information from your own body, like your needs. Am I cold? Am I hot? Am I thirsty? Do I need to blink? I'm breathing. Food is being processed. Whatever is going on inside, my heart is pumping. There is constant information that you don't have to worry about. And then there is all the information from the outside world. There are sounds, there are sights, there are smells, there are everything that is coming towards you every single second you are awake. And because there is so much, you need to filter it so your brain can actually handle it and process it. So you are taking about a minimum of 2.3 million pieces of information, and you are boiling it down into 128 pieces. That's quite a lot of things that you don't see, that doesn't seep in. So what this part of your brain does is it deletes, it distorts, and it generalizes. So whatever is similar to something that you have felt, thought, experienced, smelled, seen before, it just takes all these pieces and boils it together. It doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to mean the same, but because it has some sort of recognition, it will generalize it. Like, this person looks like a person that did this to me in the past, so it must mean I have to be aware or act or be a certain way with this person because it's the same. Last time the weather was like this, this happened. So now the weather is like this. I'm aware of this. So we already focus our attention just with the generalization. Then it deletes. This is the interesting part. What does it delete? What does your brain delete of all the information that you are presented with every second? Anything that you haven't deemed important. And what you deem important is the code you have in your subconscious mind. So it's your history, it's your memory, it's your perception, your current perception of this world, of you, of people, of possibilities, of opportunities. It is everything that is recognizable to you. It's everything that you subconsciously want to see more proof of. And you may think this doesn't sound too bad, and it really isn't if you know how to use it. But the problem is your subconscious mind is very much made up of things that make you scared, of memories that weren't pleasant, of times you felt that you weren't good enough, of proof that you are unworthy of whatever you want, people treating you bad, sorrow, all these things is largely a part of what we keep inside and what controls our lives. So Joe Dispenza talks about how we keep ourselves in this loop of remanifesting the person we are right now, that we have this signature in our brain where the brain is wiring this the same way. It's firing a signal and it's receiving the same way. So this this pathway it's making is how you actually process information and feelings when you don't think about it, how you do it normally. So most people, when something happens in their life that makes them stop and be aware for a second because something is happening that is maybe unpleasant or shocking or making them feel anxious, there is a whole set of events that takes place after this external trigger. And if we aren't aware, most of the times it will lead us to imagining things that aren't really beneficial. It will lead us to imagining things that are worst case scenario. So we will start feeling it in our body. If something is happening, then maybe we feel scared. We start hyperventilating, or we start our blood pressure starts to raise. We start breathing in a different, more restricted way, and thoughts, a million thoughts, start to come into our mind. And we are already on one pathway. And that is not the pathway that we want to be on if we want calm, if we want opportunities, if we want joy, if we want happiness, if we want our dreams. They do not exist on the same pathway. So when our brain, or when the filtering system before our brain is actually even part of the process, deletes things, it is mostly the things for most people that aren't aware of how to use their consciousness. It's mostly things that they actually really, really want to see and need to see. So it's proof that they are loved. It's proof that they're good enough. It's proof that there is always, at any given moment, so many opportunities, that there is always a way, that life is happening for you, that whatever you are facing right now that feels too big, you can handle it. Most of the time, your brain is deleting the very thing you need to live a more abundant and loving life if you do not reprogram it, if you are not aware. And then it distorts. So it means, okay, this isn't exactly what I have experienced before, but somehow it's similar. I can make it fit into this mold. So yeah, that could be bad too. Yeah, that could be bad too. Yeah, that could also mean disaster. Yeah, that could also just what more? Bring more. It finds so much proof of the things you don't want to see because that is what you subconsciously have coded it with to be important. What you can very quickly test yourself with is to, if you want to find out what is actually important to me. When you are unaware, and then when you are just finding yourself in a place that you aren't experiencing a lot of joy, like there's nothing really profound happening out here to distract you from whatever misery that can pop up at any time inside. What thoughts goes through your head? What is like the deepest core feeling you have inside regarding yourself? Do you feel loved? Do you feel worthy? Do you feel like you are capable of great things? Like really, not just trying to persuade yourself. Or is it more like doubt? Is it more like, am I really good enough? Do people really like me? Do I really have anything to contribute with? Am I really worthy? So whatever you feel the most, you feel the deepest, is what is in your subconscious coding. And you can, I know we live in a time where self-development is like the talk of everybody, and it's amazing. And I know that I can't tell you anything today that you do not already know regarding how you can focus on things, how you can use mantras or affirmations to try to reprogram your mind. The trick is it doesn't really work if the thing that is here below surface level is so strong and is the dominating frequency in your emotions, because you attract and you manifest from your emotions, and you do not manage to alter that. So if whatever goes on beneath the surface is mostly doubt, is mostly not that pleasant feelings about yourself, it's mostly stories that feel so strong and so true from your life, how people treated you and how they were right to because you are this and that, then you will be deleting most of the proof out here if you aren't aware of the opposite of what you want to see. So this is why consciousness is key. This is why you need to live your life really aware and present in the moment. Because whenever you are not present in the moment, you leave every decision making and every interpretation of the world to your reticular activating system and your subconscious mind. And unless you have done a lot of reprogramming down here, you don't want to leave that piece of you steering the show. So there are 4 levels of consciousness. There are actually 5, but every one of us has nailed the 5th, the base one, or the first one, because just by being human and being aware that you are alive, you have nailed that one. So yay! Next one. Next one is the one I was stuck in 3 years ago. And this is where most people live the majority of their life. And that is the unaware state. If you want to see my nerdy drawing, this is here. So this is the base level. This is the smallest reality. This is the comfort zone that doesn't feel very comfortable. But when you are living from the unaware state, you know that you are human. You know that you are alive. You know that you can do things, but you do not feel like you have any control. You do not feel like you have any part to play in this. You feel like you are being led, and not in a very good way. You feel like a leaf in the wind. You feel like life is controlling you. You feel like you can't really do anything, and just one wave is hitting after the other, and you can barely reach it up to the surface to breathe in between. So you are caught in victimhood. This is the basic level. It's victimhood. This is where you are completely ruled and directed and guided and led by your inner child and your subconscious mind. You are mostly an autopilot, and you are very rarely aware in the now of what truly is present, but you interpret all the time and everything and make it fit the story that you already have inside. So your focus is always on outside circumstances. So whatever happens outside affects you. Whatever happens outside is the thing that determines how you feel. So when you experience chaos out here, you take it in without knowing that you have created in the inside first. You take it in and it affects you. If you experience anger out here, you take it in. If you experience sorrow out here, you take it in. Every outside circumstance is affecting you and is ruling your mood, your day, your perspective of yourself, everything. The outside world affects you, not the other way around. And you blame. Oh my God, you blame. If we take back to the story 3 years ago, I blamed everybody. I blamed my kids for misbehaving. I blamed my boyfriend for being at work every day. He had the easy part. I blamed people who had it easier than me. I blamed my mom and her husband, because part of why we moved here was so we could have this like we could use each other. I mean, we could be a part of each other's lives, of course, in a bigger perspective, but there would also be help. There would be help with kids, and I feel like there was help with kids, and truth was they helped tons, and I didn't ask. But it was never enough. When you are caught in the first level, in the basic level, when you're unaware, it's never enough. If something good happens, it's not enough. If something amazing happens, you can always tone it down. You can always make it drown in the sea of misery. So this is the basic level. And the key word to it is life happens to me. You feel like a victim. Life happens to me. And the world around you it's cruel to you. Like it's not a place that you feel like it has your back. It's not, you don't feel supported. You just feel like you are completely caught in a battle zone and you are the losing part. So you feel powerless. When you are in the basic level of the awareness, you feel powerless. And you are not aware of the thoughts and the feelings and the narratives and the rules and beliefs that you live by. You are completely unaware of what is ruling the inside world. You are completely unaware of the power of your mind. You are completely unaware of the 5-year-old chaos pilot you have put behind the wheel to steer the ship. You are unaware. You don't know that your thoughts and your feelings and your actions create your reality, not the other way around. You don't know it. You're unaware. And if you look around, I think that you will agree with me that a lot of people often show up in life this way. And I want to say there is no judgment here. There is no better or worse. This is just a natural journey that we humans take. And I also want to say that you cannot listen to what I say in this masterclass and then leave this masterclass being in level 4. Very few people in the world are at level 4, at the highest level of awareness. It takes practice. It takes patience. It takes embodiment. It takes time. So just to make sure that you don't think this is like, okay, then I'll just do this and this and this, and then I'm up here and all my life will be swell. No, that's not where we are. You are here for the journey. You are here for the lessons. You are here for everything. But then we start to move up. And this is what happened to me when I told you there was this voice inside me, my own voice saying, are you done yet? And it wasn't patronizing. There was no, oh my God, are you done yet? It was just like, all right, honey, I see you. It's hard. Yes, I get you. But should we do something about it? Are you ready? Should we expand? Or do you want to stay here? Because we have free will, so we can do that. So this is what happens when we start to move up. Then suddenly we begin to have an awareness. This is called beginning awareness. We begin to have an awareness about some things. Like, there are some patterns. There are some things that make us stop and think. There are some things that makes us wonder, question. There are a different part of us that starts to, just for seconds maybe, at a time, be present and see the world just a little bit differently. So when we are at the second level, beginning awareness, that is where we really question things. And at the beginning, it might not be every second, every day. It might just be maybe once a month, here and there. But there is a beginning. There is like a tiny, I don't know if you've seen this sculpture. I can't remember where it is, but it's a woman. It's a sculpture of a woman sitting in front of, there's a bridge behind, and she has cracks in her. And I think she has her hands on her body somewhere and sitting there peacefully. But the cracks at night, when I haven't seen it in real life, I only see pictures, so I think it's true that at night these cracks, they light up. I know there are other statues as well where you start to see these tiny holes where light come through. That is the beginning of the awareness. That is where we move slowly towards the second level, but we are not out of the woods yet. We have not, we still have our feet, and especially one foot, very solidly planted in the unaware. So most of the time, when this part doesn't take over, when this little light beam doesn't shine, we are in the victimhood. We are in the unaware. We are still a leaf in the wind. We are still caught in everything, and feels like life is overwhelming. But then more and more questions starts to come, and then there is more of how do I want to explain it? There are moments where you feel like you are different. There are moments where you feel like there's not just chaos. There's moments when you feel like you can just step above whatever is going on for a second and see it in a different light. So this is more where you expand on your reality. This is where you start seeing things that you didn't see before. This is where you start noticing things that you didn't notice before, like patterns, like why am I doing this? Like, I've been doing this for so long, and I haven't even been aware that I'm doing it. Why am I doing this? So there, you are starting to move up at a level where you see things in a different light. And this is where you start to experiment with just very, very, very lightly, like a new beginning, a new learner, like first grader. You start to experiment with engaging with the world in a way where you feel like maybe I can do something, maybe I can change something, maybe I'm not just a leaf caught in the wind, maybe I can decide how to move. Wait, maybe I actually have some sort of control over things. And instead of life happens to me, it will be life happens by me. And I want to see that I say the right things here. Yeah, because this is it's a control level. This is where you go from, I have no control, and then we kind of fall all the way over in the other spectrum, and in the other end of the spectrum, where it's like, okay, if I have control, I'm going to control everything. Let me see what I can control. And this is where, if I do this, this happens. If I do this, this happens. So we really start to feel like we are co-creators, but not in an amazing way yet. Like, we are co-creator of things. Things still happen. Things still happen, and we want to try to avoid it. We want to try to avoid the bad things happening. We want to try to avoid the bad feelings. We want to try to avoid the bad experiences. We want to try to avoid the parts that we feel like we can't handle. Everything that felt too hard and too overwhelming before in the basic awareness, in where we were unaware, we want to try and avoid it. We just want to live problem-free. We just want to lay in a sunbed and drink pina colada and have nothing to worry about, and have money flowing in, and then everything will be good. So we want to try and control everything. So we have this life happens by me. I am the creator, but we have more questions than answers in this phase. So it can be quite overwhelming. There's a lot of activity in here, but there are more questions than answers. But there's an increased awareness and a conscious thought process. So our thoughts aren't unaware anymore. We start to notice what we think. We start to notice our thoughts. We start to notice our feelings. And that is the first step. And we will not leave the bottom step. It's not like, okay, now I'm done with this and I'm only up here yet. Because these two levels at the base, they are ego driven. And there is nothing bad about ego. It's just the way we see the world. It's the experience. It's ego driven. And let me just find, I wanted to, I have this, there's one thing I wanted to say that I have on my phone on a picture. Here it is. Let me see. Yes, it's ego driven and it's fear driven. So the two basic level, 1 and 2, the unaware and the beginning awareness, is ego driven and fear driven. So this level, besides being beginning awareness, is also where it's hustle and grind. Like you struggle for things, but you are aware of your struggle, and then you start using your struggle in a more constructive way. But you still feel like you have to struggle. You still feel like you have to work hard for whatever you want. So there is not the awareness yet that there is a whole universe and energy field that is working its own magic. You are not really aware of that yet. And when you focus on goals in this level, it is material. It's more internally driven by vision of values. You start to think about, what do I want? What would I like life to be like? What would I want to be like? But it's very self-focused, and it's also very materially focused. And then we have this beginning of a spiritual awareness that emerges. But in a way, like, spirituality is many things, but a lot of times we still try to use spirituality to gain something. And that is still ego driven. So a lot of the spiritual teaching out there, and a lot of the talks that we can be part of, that evolve spirituality and how we can, like, use this awakening process, is still ego driven, and is still we still use it to secure basic needs and extra, like, values, valuable things, material things. But then we start to move up again. And now we don't just move from second to third layer. We also move from ego-driven awareness to trust and love-driven. So this is where we are entering into a more soul-led life, and where we start to experience something that has been a profound lack before: trust. When we live from the basic levels, there is no trust. We don't, in the victimhood, we don't trust life. We don't trust people. We don't even trust ourselves and our abilities to cope with life. When we enter the second phase, where we have the beginning awareness, we don't trust life, because we have so much proof from the first phase, from our lives, that bad things happen that we can't control, that that there's always another thing waiting. There's always another disaster. Just look at many of the things we say, like that one bad things seldom come alone. Like there is, and death always happens in threes. There are so many things, like where we have accepted the truth of, there's more bad stuff coming than good stuff. And if one bad thing is coming, it just opens up the pathway for more bad stuff. And when we look at this, like the beginning of the spiritual awakening, it's also very fear driven, because now we start to realize, oh, I actually do have something to do with what happens to me. I have some sort of control, or I can't just blame life. So now we get scared of what we think, and we get scared of our frequency, and if it's good enough for us to attract the life we want. So it's still very fear driven. But when we start to live from trust, when we start to move up again from the second layer where trust is still not present, because now that I know I am a co-creator, and then I'm actually more than a co-creator, I am the one behind the steering wheel, I am the one that is dictating the direction, I am the one that is attracting things. I need to be on constantly and be super present and be super focused on whatever I want, and I cannot steer away for a second, and I cannot lose control. I can't even lay down and rest to sleep, because then what? Then what? I will be back to basic. We are very much afraid of giving up the control. So when we move into the third layer, it's a completely different game, and this is where we really start to take one foot out of victimhood. You will see it immediately. I'm not going to say I'm not in level 4. Don't worry. I'm not going to sit here and proclaim that I'm one of the few people in the world that have reached level 4. Not at all. But I do look forward to it happening, and I hope that I will experience it in this lifetime. But I am definitely not caught in level 1 anymore. But I still find myself in victimhood sometimes. It is such a recognizable feeling. It's such a safe place to be, even though it's unpleasant. It is the thing I know the best. It's the thing that I have spent most of my life being in, victimhood. I almost died before I was 1 year old, and I have been close to death several times after that. And people around me saw me as a victim because I'm born with severe allergies. So whenever I was around furry animals, I would almost die. So it's so familiar. And when we are not aware all the time, and we can't be, that's why we have our autopilot. We need to relax sometimes. When we are not aware and we are caught in an old pattern that we haven't recognized yet, we will be falling into the unaware. We will, whenever we haven't seen the pattern, whenever we haven't connected the dots, whenever we haven't been allowed to see this part clearly yet, we are in the unaware. But when we start to move up to level 3, that is the shift, the mindset shift, the recoding phase. So this is where the fun part starts. This is where the actual work starts. But when we get up here, we will spot it. We will spot when we are out of alignment, because we will have a new standard for ourselves. We will have new proof. We will have new awareness. We will have maybe not a complete set new identity, but we will have a new identity, and we will have places where we want to go, and we will have trust. We will begin to experience trust, and trust and victimhood doesn't go hand in hand. So whenever we find ourselves in victimhood, we will feel it. It will be like it will spark. It will be clearly, because that is not the most that is not the state that we reside most in anymore. But it's not because we won't experience it. It's not because we won't feel overwhelmed. It's not because we won't have days where we just fall into thoughts that control us, and they just keep coming more and more and more, and we feel like we can't stop them, even though we know how to do it, even though we have this awareness, even though we know they're not good for us, even though we know it's not the truth. They will still be so strong, and all we can do is write the course and not judge it and not resist it and not make it mean anything about us. Because what most people do, where they sabotage themselves in this evolution, in this consciousness journey, is when they have left the basic level, not completely, but like for the majority of the time, they have left victimhood. When they fall into it, they think they are not back to the beginning. They think that somehow everything they learned and every step they have taken and every progress they have gained is suddenly lost in a second, because they find themselves back where they were before. But we are never back where we were before. We're just visited by new parts of us that are ready to come along as well. And we can't move everything at once. I usually use this example because I think it really shows what I mean so well. When most people want to move ahead and evolve, they think they can just like take their entire being and their entire existence and move it up to here. And then this is just erased forever. But imagine if you have had a childhood that were so traumatic, where every possible bad thing that could happen happened to you. So we're talking about parents that weren't very good parents to you. We are talking about neglect. We are talking about abuse. We are talking about deaths. We are talking about bullying in school. We are talking about every bad thing that could possibly happen happened. Now you can't live aware of this. That is why we create patterns. That is why we create trauma responses so we can cope with this and actually still exist, because this is so big that it could kill us. It should kill us. I mean, it's so big that the weight is so heavy that nobody should bear it. But when you then bury the things, the specific situations and the things that had occurred that were too big for you to handle, and you create trauma responses and strategies to actually keep moving and keep going. At one point, when you grow up and you have brain maturity to see things in a different way, would you truly want to rip up the lid and have every bad experience that ever happened to you emerge at once, just to be free of it at once? Do you think you could handle all that in one setting, in one moment? I don't care how strong you are, you can't. So we are not allowed to just take off the lid and have everything pour out. There are things that are waiting in a perfect line to be discovered at the perfect time, where we are ready to handle it and where we can use it to grow and evolve as human beings. So when you feel like you're knocked back, you're not knocked back. You are so strong now. You are so capable now that you are allowed to heal the next thing that would have made you perish a year ago or 2 years ago. So be thankful and be happy that everything doesn't happen at once. And know that whenever you feel like you're knocked back, you are just stronger now, and the universe trusts you that you are ready to handle whatever that experience was and process it in a way where it will no longer control your life. Okay? But we will still fall into the lower levels when we are in the mindset shift and the recoding with it, which is the third level of awareness. But this is where we start to see patterns, like really see patterns, and where we start to experiment with the heightened awareness. So in the second level, we just started to see. We just started to question. We just started to have moments of a different awareness. We just started to see in tiny pockets here and there. We started to see things a different way, but we had so many more questions than answers. And we didn't know anything, but we were still fear-based. And now we start to see patterns and experiment with the heightened awareness, and we start reprogramming our subconscious mind. We start to being aware. We start being aware what is present underneath the surface. We start to investigate thoughts, beliefs, stories, narratives, perspectives, everything that we up until this point thought was the truth. And not just the truth, but a truth that you could not disprove. It was definitive. Everything we start to flip upside down and see a new light. We start to experiment with it. We start to really see where we have a coding that is not good for us. We start to see where we have thoughts that aren't good for us. We start to see where we have beliefs that definitely isn't serving us. We start to see the patterns we hold on to and the parts of ourselves and our identity that keeps us in the same loop and actually keeps us away from what we want to achieve and what we want to be and what we want to have. So this is like the big experiment. This is really where we start to move things around and delete and take it out. And I get this picture of on this Pixar movie with the feelings. What's it called? I can't remember what's it called, but it's about Riley, a girl, and her internal world, and we have these basic feelings, and where they're walking the aisles of the long-term memory, and there are these deleters that are taking out memories that are no longer serving anybody. Inside out, yes, exactly. That are no longer serving them, and they just delete it. They throw it into to the dump ground. And this is really what we start to do. Like, we take it out, and what a lot of people do in the beginning is they do it still with one foot in fear. Like, this doesn't serve me. This will ruin my life. This will forever be in my way. This will sabotage me in whatever progress I want to make. This is keeping me from quantum leaping. This is still fear based. So I can't have this. I can't handle this. This can't be a part of me, and I throw it out. So we also, in the process of going from level 2 to level 3, see this internal war with a lot of people. And I did a masterclass not too long ago where I think it was called "Love Yourself to Life," because I really wanted to offer a different perspective on this evolution as a human being, and an evolution in our awareness that wasn't based in being scared about different parts of ourselves and what we keep inside, and that didn't stem from an internal war, and where we were trying to find things wrong that we could fix in order to evolve, because that is still not a very high sense of awareness. So let me see. I have written so small that I can't see it. So there's bigger trust. We start to have this awareness that I might be here for a reason. There might be something that I have to do with my life that maybe I haven't figured out yet. Maybe there's something bigger than I have felt and thought and seen up until now. And there is this elevated sense of trust that starts to emerge, that there are times in our life where we can remain more in a sense of trust than just fall into fear immediately. And this is also where there is a very profound shift, where we start to think that life happens through me. It happens through me. And this is also where we start to see that it doesn't only happen through me, but it also happens for me. Because whatever I'm presented with for a reason. Whatever cards I'm being dealt, it's because it's the hand I'm here to play right now. So let me see what I can make of it. And this is where we are super focused on the world inside us. We are not so focused on the world outside. We can still go and check to see what is happening out here, but it's really an internal game. This is where there are so many things going on inside, so many thoughts, so many perspective shifts, so many downloads, so many things. It's like popping all the time. Does any of you know this? Where you go to bed at night and then suddenly you like woof, 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 things are coming down, ideas, speeches, whatever is just pouring in, and you really are very responsive to life in a different way than you were before. Because before you were responsive to life with your guards up. It's like, okay, who's there? Who do I need to fight? What do I need to do? I need to be aware. But now it's more like, okay, so this is happening. How does it make me feel? What is my immediate response? Why is it that? So there is a lot of things going on inside in the third level. And you really start to embody a different feeling. I'm almost dancing right now when I'm tapping into it. Like this, it's sort of grace and ease, and you carry yourself differently. There's a trust not only in the universe and somebody has your back, and you're supported, and then things will always work out, and things are happening for you, but also I can handle this. There's a trust in yourself. Before, in the basic level, when you were unaware, there was no trust. Like, you were afraid constantly that the next wave would drown you. You were afraid constantly that the next crisis would be the one that broke you. So now there is like, okay, I got this. I got this. And sometimes, yes, there is a new pattern to be revealed. There is a new um, trauma response to be decoded and transformed. So you will briefly find yourself traveling into the unaware or the beginning awareness. And now you will feel like you can't really go into the unaware. You can't go full-blown victimhood from here, but you can be on the border, right? But you will be going from a level 3 until 2, discovering what needs to be discovered, coming back up here, and you will have this journey where you go back and forth, one foot in level 2 and one foot in level 3, and it can feel quite schizophrenic at times. Like, you have one part of you that is full-blown fear sometimes, and oh my God, this is not going to work. I don't think I can handle this. And you will take a step out of trust and guidance, and you will be here trusting, present in the now, awaiting whatever instructions from the universe, and really corresponding to life. And then you will be back in, oh my God, did I really do this? What will happen now? And it can feel like a really weird dance where you are trying to dance the waltz and Macarena and whatever in once. It feels weird, but at the same time, you also feel you really in this phase live dualities and start to see the full spectrum of life. You start to see that maybe bad isn't pure bad, maybe good isn't pure good, and you really start to know we can't have one without the other. So you, in this phase, your awareness um is big enough to hold the contrasts and hold dualities. And this is where the trust really comes in, because you can be in a physical reality that isn't the way you want it to be, that doesn't feel good, where you are meeting things that is challenging you, but you will still be in a place of trust, and you will still be in this position of believing I can handle this. So dualities and contrast is a big thing in this phase where you are moving back and forth between level 3 and level 2. And then there is the last one. Oh, let me see if I want to say anything. In level 3, you are evolving, you are changing, you are seeing things unfold. There is definitely a new identity. You cannot have the same identity any longer. You will feel different. You will see yourself different than you did before. You will look back and you will think, holy crap, I've come so far. Was that my life? Was that really what I was thinking? Was that really my reality? Was that really what I was saying to myself? Was that really who I was? Was I really doing it? And this is where, again, in the beginning, where we go from fear to love, like the two base level to the two top levels, where we sometimes can be caught in mm, we have one part being aware, we have one part discovering, and we have the other part, the lower part, judging. We have this part here saying, oh my God, I was so wrong. I was so stupid. If only I knew. So we kind of have this internal war until we move past it, more into love, more into trust than the ego, where every judgment is ever found. And then we kind of see, oh, but it was just natural. It was like a kid learning to crawl before they could walk, before they could run, before they could read, before they could. It was the same journey. And this is really the key. This has been the key to me whenever to my evolution and my growth is whenever I fall into the trap of judging myself, my prior self, my choices, my the way I show up in life, the way I acted, the way I responded, the way I was, the way I thought, the more I see myself as a child on a different learning journey than I have been as a child in this life, where I learned everything for the first time. And it was everything for the first time regarding my physical body and my abilities and um, my capabilities, and also mastering life like on a material plane. I could walk, I could eat, I could do, I could create. But now I am still on the same journey, just a level two, where it's not learning how to master the material life and um my abilities in the same way. Like I can craft things, I can do things, I can build things, but more like becoming extraordinary, becoming everything I came here to be. And there is no judgment. There is no judgment when I see myself as a child, because I can't expect myself to nail it before I learn it. You can't expect a child to walk before they can hold the balance. You can't expect a child to speak perfectly or read perfectly if they can't pronounce the words yet and they haven't learned vocals. So it's the same journey. I hope it makes sense. But this is really where, in the third level, new possibilities start to emerge, and there is definitely more meaning in our lives. So much more meaning, because we allow ourselves to see the greatness, the grandness, the beauty. We allow ourselves to open up to the possibility that maybe we are here for something bigger than we can ever imagine, and that our human can possibly not process or understand. And then there is the fourth level, which is the last one I will share with you on this masterclass. I'll just need a sip. The fourth level is called enlightenment or full awakening. And this is where you are completely soul aligned and fully living from your higher self. You have an ability to be fully present in the moment, because you know whatever you respond to, whatever you create, whatever you be, stems from the present moment. This is also where you have truly embodied the awareness that either you are a reflection of the past because you are caught in stories and memories and old ways of doing, or missing things from the past, or whatever, you are caught in the past, history and memory, or you are a vision of the future. So either you are a reflection of the past or you are a vision of the future. And this is where there is no limit. Like when you look at where your life can take you, you see the horizon, but you know there's something beyond. So this is a oneness. You are highly intuitive here. You are really completely co-creating with the universe, and you are a vessel for the energy that universe wants to express through you. So you are connected to everything. You are you are experiencing a deep compassion and love for everything around you. So this whole good, bad, and the judgment, gone. There is no good or bad. That is completely and only our human way of seeing things. There is no good and bad. I have this discussion with my kids sometimes when we see programs where you have like a lion hunting a baby zebra, and I say, oh my God, the lion is so cruel. And then, because they are killing is bad. And then you see the lioness taking back the baby zebra and feeding her cubs. And I ask them, is it bad? She's hunting. She's providing food. And it's brutal. And when we look at it and we think that this poor little baby is being killed, but it provides food for other little babies that would die without. So there is no good and bad on the fourth level, not at all. So I hope you will get to experience this level in your lifetime, and just know that if you do, you have completely left judgment behind. And that is why I know that I am nowhere near fourth level yet, because I still sometimes judge good and bad. But you can start to tap into it, just like the evolution through the other levels where you had one foot, or you were actually in one level and you started to get a taste and you started just to pop up here from time to time. That's the same thing that happens when you are at level 3 and you start to invite the energy of level 4 in, of fully awaken and enlightenment. There will be times where you can say, I felt this. I felt this oneness. I felt this complete love for everything and everybody. I have seen things in such a big picture. I haven't tried to put it into categories. I haven't tried to even allow myself to be fooled to think that I have figured everything out, because I haven't. But I have completely, for a second, left my human, my limitation, my fear, my everything behind, and just tapped into raw awareness. This is what you can actually do in meditation, and this is why meditation is so powerful if you do it correct. And I am not a meditation teacher, so I'm not telling you how to do it correct. I just know this is the awareness that you can tap into, and this is where you can completely tap out of whatever fear, whatever feelings, whatever anxiety, whatever goes on in your human and in the basic levels, and tap into your highest consciousness. This is where you embody the state of life happens as me. So it's not by doing, it's by being. It is a knowing that even if I don't do anything today, even if I don't produce anything, even if I don't see an external proof or validation of me doing a difference today, I am doing a difference, because I am here breathing and I am being a vessel that energy can transform through. So even just by my thoughts, even just by my breath, even just by my presence, I am still making a difference in this lifetime. And this is where we focus on the world we can change. And it's not, I won't say at all, but not very much about our immediate world, but the collective. How big of a footprint can I actually leave in this light? And this is where you can sometimes, when you're just tapping into it, feel overwhelmed by the potential of your soul and feel overwhelmed by the idea of the greatness that you can actually present in this life. This is where you can feel moved to tears and speechless when you just for a second tap into how important you could actually be, and not from an ego perspective at all. I get moved talking about it. So at this level, you are completely aligned with your highest expression. There is joy, there's happiness, there's trust, there's flow, and you are connected. And I have written it with very, very big letters and emphasized it and circled it, because you are connected. You cannot for 1 second believe that you are just a single little organism in your own life, only doing things over here that doesn't affect anybody else. You know that every breath you take affects other people. You know you are connected. You know we breathe as one. You know we blink as one. You know we feel as one. So there is a connectedness that is bigger than you can imagine with your human. And this is where you co-create with source. That is the last thing I wanted to say about the awareness evolution. So you can find out for yourself, like, your human will probably, there's 2 aspects. Either you are so far down, and I don't really think anybody that is attending this masterclass is so far down, because I know this conversation will be above their heads. Again, no judging. It is just, that's just the way it is. Like, we have a certain amount of bandwidth. So there are things that we can understand, there are things we can take in, there are things that we feel drawn to, there are things that we feel attracted to, there are things that catches our eye, that is in alignment with what we are ready to receive. And I do know that if you are completely caught in victimhood, you will not even have pushed the button to attend the masterclass, because it would just be, oh, but why bother? I can't even do anything about it, right? So I know that you're not there, but it can happen that somebody has found their way into it here, and I really, really hope that they have, because I know that if they take their time to listen, they will get so much out of this, and it can completely transform the journey that they are on if they allow themselves to open up to what I have shared. But if you are in a position where victimhood is still the majority of where you find yourself, what most likely will happen after this is you will try to persuade yourself that you are in level 3 or 4. Because you have felt it maybe a little bit once, I think, at a party sometime. And that's okay. But part of the awareness evolution and growing our emotional intelligence and growing as humans is honesty. So the more honest you can be with yourself, the less you can exaggerate, and the less you can under exaggerate, the other way around, the better it is. So just be aware. What can I actually relate to? Can I see the different steps? How have I felt some of this? Can I identify victimhood in my life? How, when, what happened? Can I see how I started to tap into something differently? What happened? Was there something, an occurrence, a situation? Was there something life altering that happened that actually helped me move along? Because most times there will be, if we are stuck too long, life happens for us, will present us with opportunities to grow. So what happened, and how did it feel, and how can I see that I started to move into this even more? What did it feel like to have this beginning awakeness? What did it feel like to to feel like that I had a part to play in it, that I could do something, that I wasn't just a leaf in the wind, that I wasn't just a victim? What started to take up space in my mind? What did my life start to evolve into? And can I identify things from level 3? Can I see this mind shift, this recoding? And this is where I feel like most of the people I attract are in this mindset shift, because that is where I have spent the last 3 years really aware of it. The journey has begun long before that. But can I see how I am aware of my internal world? Can I see how I create things, how I attract things, how my current state of being, my thoughts, my feelings, my actions is creating my reality? Can I see it? And am I aware that I am a co-creator? And are there elements from this 4th level where I feel the oneness, where I feel the love, where I'm sometimes I know I have felt this. Let me say it without crying. I know I have felt level 4, because I have moments, even when my life is chaotic, where I just for a moment feel completely bliss and a love that I can't explain, that is too big to be contained inside me, and where I feel grateful that I could just like soar in that feeling. And I know how it feels. I also know that I'm not there all the time. But can you identify these things? Can you see the evolution? Can you see the natural progress? And can you see that by knowing it, you can help it along? Because if you want to live from a place that is connected, that is pure love, that is trust, that is oneness, that is greatness, that is purpose, that is meaningful, you can just start to do it right now. You can start to feel grateful for things. You can start to see things in a different light. You can start right now with the things that you judge the most in this world. and let it shift. You can start focusing on it. You can start asking yourself, why am I judging this? Why am I holding on to the resentment? Why am I feeling this strongly? What is going on? You can start to cultivate love even more in your life for little things. You can start to embody trust even more. What can you trust already now? What can you trust? And how can you just allow it to grow? So just by being aware of the evolution of the consciousness, of the stages of awareness, you can help yourself tap into the next level even more, even more, even more. And one place you can do it, I think, more efficiently than anywhere else is by starting to loving yourself, starting to love yourself and starting to accept yourself and starting to open up to the idea that you are here for big things, that you actually are here to change the world. But it starts inside. You can't change the world if you feel like you're unworthy. You can't fill those big shoes if you feel like you're not good enough. And you cannot leave that big, solid mark and that legacy if you doubt yourself constantly. So it starts here. And what still keeps you lingering in the victimhood? What still keeps you attached to control and hustle and grind? What still keeps you connected to wanting to manifest and create things out of a solely material perspective? Because when you start digging into that and letting it dissolve, you very quickly move up the awareness ladder. So I truly, profoundly hope that this hour and 20 minutes, I went a little bit over, was worth your time. And I hope that you have gained a new perspective of yourself, of life, and of your purpose here, and how you can help yourself grow into whatever you came here to be and fulfill whatever legacy you came here to fulfill. And it's been my absolute joy and pleasure to spend this time with you. And I wish you the best day ever. Thank you for being here. Bye.